Hello friends, welcome to my channel. So this is the second episode, that is understanding the data types in GIS using QGIS 3.12. So in this episode we are going to learn about what are the basic data types generally used in the GIS analysis and how this data type actually differ from each other and how to handle or add this kind of data into the QGIS. So before going to the practical, let's learn about the basic understanding or basic theory. There are basically two categories of the data that we are generally used in the GIS analysis. That is, one is partial referenced or partially referenced data or partial data, or second one is the attribute data. The partial data or partial data has two another classification. One is vector, another one is raster, and there is a term which is called as the geodatabase. It is actually is the combination of partial data and non-partial data in a particular database. So by definition it can be say that a geodatabase is a database that is some way reference to the location on the earth coupled with data is usually known as the attribute data. Attribute data generally defined as the additional information which can then be tied with the partial data. So the basic function is that we have some attribute data, we have some partial data, that is topology, raster, point, line, polygon, etc., and all data are actually stored in a particular area, and this area actually called as the geodatabase. So here also we can understand easily that inside geodatabase we already have the feature dataset, feature classes, topology, geometric network, and obviously that attribute or table and their relationship, as well as we already have the raster catalog and the raster data. So both actually form the geodatabase. So in the most GIS analysis we actually work with the vector geodatabase and the raster geodatabase. So the main thing is that we have two kind of the data: partial reference or partial data, non-partial or attribute data. Partial database has two classification, that is vector and the raster, and all partial and non-partial data actually stored in a area which is known as the geodatabase. And we are actually working on the two kind of the geodatabase. One is the vector geodatabase and another is the raster geodatabase. Let's coming to the partial data type. So generally the first classification is the vector data. So vector data actually split into three types, that is, one is polygon, line or arc, and point. So let's come to the polygon. Polygon feature actually two-dimensional area and therefore can be used to measure the area and perimeter of a geographical feature. Polygons are used to represent areas such as the boundary of a city on a large scale map, lake or forest. So the polygon geometrically can be say as the three or more vertices that are connected and closed. So this is the, like for example, if I point here one point, and here one point, here one point, here one point, and if I connect this point with a line, then it will become a polygon. So polygon actually the closed data or closed data type which has two dimension, and that is the area and the perimeter of the geometric features. The second one is the line or the arc. Actually it is the linear feature, or commonly example would be the river, trail, tree, street, etc. So line feature can only have a one dimension, that is the length. So therefore it is only used for measure the length. So it is actually built or generated from the joining of at least 2 points or two vertices that are connected. Like for example, if I draw one point here, if I draw another point here, and then if I connect them, so it will become a line. So it has one dimension, and we could only measure the length, the dimension of from a line, as well as the line features can have a starting or ending point. Generally these are called as the vertices, or maybe in network analysis part we will learn a lot about this vertices, node, and etc etc. So let's come to the point data. Point data is actually most commonly represented data. It has no dimension or maybe zero dimension, because it actually represent the non-adjacent feature and to represent a discrete data point. That means that if there is a location on Earth's or the Earth surface, so and this location actually have the discrete latitude longitude, then we will have to draw a point to mark this on a map. For example, if we have the culvert location, or maybe the school, or maybe the uh, road intersect, so that particular point should have one x and one y value, and this lat long value where coincide this particular section we can actually represent through the point. So points have the zero dimension, therefore we can't actually measure anything from the point. Rather, we actually identify or address the discrete or the specific location of a particular feature over the Earth surface. So center or point plot location, tower location, sampling location. So xy, each point have one latitude and longitude addresses. So this way we can actually divided all the vector database into three, that is the point, lines, and the polygon. Now coming to the raster database. So raster data actually known as the fourth type of features or fourth dimension of the data, that is the surface, or it is basically grid data. That means if we draw some kind of the pixel area or grid area, and each pixel has some kind of the values, and these values are actually represented through the different color scheme, and then the output usually called as the raster data. So it is actually the cell based or grid based data. Basically categorize the aerial or the satellite imageries which are actually taken from the satellite as well as the aerial survey, through the aerial survey. So generally there are two kind of the raster data, continuous data and the discrete data. An example of the discrete raster is the population density. That means that we have certain kind of the classes of a particular raster area. That means the 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 20. So this kind of the data actually known as the discrete data. Continuous data actually example of the temperature or the elevation environment. That means that there must have one kind of the gradient based approach or gradient based system, where we can't actually draw a specific line between the two temperature zone or two elevation zone. And the three type of the raster data actually there are. This is the thematic data, spectral data, and the picture imagery. Thematic database means the digital elevation method actually represent the height over the mean sea level. So it actually represent one theme, so that's why it's called the thematic. Spectral data actually represent the spectral information, that is the electromagnetic radiation information. Generally all the satellite imageries, that is multispectral imageries, hyperspectral, or maybe infrared imageries, or as well as the aerial imageries, as the dozens or lots of spectral signature on their band, and when we are actually stacked or combine or composite these bands, then we will get the spectral data. Another is the picture of the photo, that is the normal photograph. Generally we take we actually takes from the cameras or mobile phone, etc. So these are the example of the, this is the elevation, that means it is the thematic data. This is the satellite imagery, it is the spectral data, and again it is also on a kind of the thematic data, that is the land use land cover map. So another aspect of the data is the non-spatial data. That means we have some attribute table. Attribute table means that suppose we have some features, and feature have some IDs, and like 1 2 3, and all the IDs have some kind of the information which are associated with the particular location, and this data actually store in a particular table, and this table known as the attribute table or the non-partial table. So whenever we generate some kind of the vector data, and this vector data or maybe this raster data should have associated with some kind of the attribute table and or non-partial information. So this is the basic things that we need to know before going to the practical, that what are the basic data types, what is the raster data, what is the vector data, and what is the geodatabase. So I think we have some kind of the basic level clearance about the basic understanding of the data structure. Now we are going to the QGIS software to understand how to add the different kind of the data, and then do some basic properties settings related stuff. Okay, let's we are in the QGIS interface. So before going to do the addition of the raster and the vector data, so generally we have to build some kind of the project and save the project initially, otherwise it may be gone or maybe uh, hang out, because it is the free or open source software. So the best thing at is that we have to create a project, and for that we have to go to the project and the new project. Then the step is that we have to at first save the project. Like for that project, save, then choose the appropriate location. So maybe that episode 2 data types at QGIS. So now we are in the project. So after that, so this is very important step, because the QGIS is the open source software. So generally what happen is that maybe it could be crashed within some heavy work or during some heavy image processing or maybe GIS stuff. So it is always good to save the project at the beginning, and after that frequently you can just save, or you can just you have to save the project frequently, so you could not miss all these things if the project or the QGIS will crash. So for that we don't have the layer panel or the browser panel. So for that, so we have to right click in the toolbars and go to the layer panels option and check it. So layer panels actually will come here, and another panel we need, that is the browser panel. So again the right click and check the browser panel, so automatically browser panel also will come here. So for adding the database or data in the QGIS, there are basically two to three options. First option is from the layer, then layer to add layer. Then you have to choose what kind of the layer you want to add here. So first of all, I want to add the vector layer, then I can go to the vector layer. So there are also another shortcut, that is the Control Shift and V. So if you press all these three keys in together, so it will automatically prompt up the windows for the vector layer addition. So for that, this is the second prompt up window from where we have to select the source type. So generally from where you actually want to import the data, file, directory, database, or protocol. So in this case I have the file. Maybe we can also import from the directory or database or the cloud, that is the web, from the web. So for that I have the save file for the word count for the three type of the data, that is the point, line, and polygon. So the encoding should be remain automatically as default, and source should be the vector dataset. So then we have to browse the location where I have the data. So then this is the QGIS project file, and this is the vector dataset that I have. So from that, the all file option, we have to select the actual or the specific file type. So from that I can choose the ASD save file, which is the standard version of this vector dataset. Then I have three kind of the four actually database, that is the world cities, world countries, world hydrography, and world X. So you can actually select single save file at one go, or you can also select all these in a single go. So I actually select all these three save file in a single go and click open, and then click the add, then close. So all these three save file come together. Let's go to the each single type of the vector datasets for analysis or for basic understanding. So first of all, from that, this is the layer section. From that you can actually check or uncheck all these things, check or uncheck, where you can actually check or uncheck all these things. So if you uncheck that, the top layer remain in the display. So this is actually the point file. So as we already know that point file has no dimension, or maybe the 0 dimension, and it can't measure anything, but it actually show the discrete location. So this are the cities which are actually spread throughout the world. So let's zoom to one city. So maybe we can zoom out or zoom in through the scroll in the mouse section. Otherwise we can go to this zoom selection tool and select as a rectangle, and it will zoom automatically. Or maybe zoom out section, that is the minus sign, you can zoom automatically. There is the pan, so we can actually drag all these cities or the display section according to our eye fitness. So there is another tool, that is the select feature, or before going to the select feature, there is another tool, that is the identify feature. If you click that and then click any of kind of the feature, then it will show the attribute table which are actually associated with this specific point. So for example, if I select this data and zoom it, and obviously the information, so this is the, this is the point data, that is the vector data or the spatial data, and the non-spatial or the attribute data is that is the name is the Kabul, country name of the Afghanistan, it is the capital. So this is actually, these are all the non-spatial information which are associated with the specific point, that is the Kabul. If we click here, so it will actually go your the latitude and longitude, as well as the feature ID, that is the all the, the points or the cities, their associated ID. So we can select the identify tool or click any kind of the features, then we can actually show all the information. Otherwise we can also go through from attribute table. So for that you have to select the specific layer, right click and open attribute table. So then you will actually find all the information which are associated with the cities which are actually distributed throughout the world. For example, if I select the Visakhapatnam and if I select this city, if I select this city and then go to the attribute table, and here is the one option that is move selection to the top, then it is the Almaty, the city of Kazakhstan. So the thing is that this is the vector data or the spatial data, and this is the non-spatial data associated with this particular specific city. Okay, now coming to the second kind of the data, that is the line features. So these are actually the major rivers throughout the world. So the river are actually the linear element which has the length function or the length measurability, so or the distance measurability. So we can actually measure the distance, that's why line is a one-dimensional feature. So for example, so how line actually built? Now line actually built or actually created through connectedness of the 2 or 3 point or 2 vertices that are connected but not closed, that are the open. So if I zoom that particular line, then you can show these are actually the several points which are connected and forming the line. To show the actually to show or to view the point, so there you have to go to the edit or toggle edit function, and then you have to click the vertex tool, current layer. Then if we place the cursor, if you place the cursor over the the line function, then you will see the several points actually connected and form the linear features. So theoretically it is, we can understand very easily that how these linear features actually formed. So again, if we go to the attribute table and select this and click this one, that move selection to, so this river actually the Brahmaputra river which is actually flowing through the Indian and China and Nepal section, Indian and China section. So this is the partial data, and this is the non-partial or the attribute data, that is the Brahmaputra. Now coming to the polygon, the third type of the database. So polygon, what is the polygon? Polygon is the 3 or more vertices that are connected and are closed. So if we zoom specific country, for example India, then or maybe Sri Lanka, yeah, then we can see all these line are actually connected from with each other, and very precisely they are closed. So again, to see the vertices or the connectedness between the point, you can go to the toggle editing and click this one. Yeah, then you will see that how this actually point are connected with each other, and they are actually closely connected from each other. So this way we can actually build the polygon section. So another example is that the World Lake. So this also are the so if we missed in the features in the display, then you have to right click here and again fit to window option or zoom to layer option, and it will automatically zoom all these things. Again, this is the lake, and which is another the polygon section. And polygon are the two or connect nature of the more than 2 point, and they are closely connected. So this is the thing. So these all are the basic data or basic vector data. So before that, we can also add all this database from here, that is the add vector layer option, and then you have to go this data and they can add, so it will automatically add all these vector points. Otherwise you can also add data from the browse portion. So you have to go to the specific folder where you have the data, then select the data, that is the world cities, world countries, world hydrography, and world lake, and then just double click it will actually add all this data. So there are multiple ways you can actually add the different kind of the data into the GIS system. Now remove all this data and coming to the raster data version. Okay. So another thing is that this information another thing is that we can actually show the attribute table information on the display on the screen. Like this is the Russia, so you can actually show the label as the king. So for that we have to right click and go to the properties, then go to the label option and select the single labels, and then which actually column you want to show as a label, then apply and hit OK. So maybe you can colors all these countries, maybe you can colors all these countries as a random colors or different colors. So for that I actually select the random colors option and OK. So these are the visualization part. We actually give the specific color or the pastel colors to the different countries on the basis of their uniqueness or categories. For example, this is the Brazil or Antarctica, this is the India. So these are actually the categorical information we can do on the basis of the attribute table. As well as for the cities we can actually shows the level. For doing this we have to go to the we have to go to the right click and then go to the levels and then choose the single levels and choose the name and then apply. So you will see all the cities will prompt up automatically here. Maybe we can change the symbol on the basis of the countries. So countries, random colors, maybe shuffle random color, classify, apply. OK, so now we have the cities with the same color for the same country. For example, like India, we have all the blue. For Kazakhstan, we have this color. For the Russia, we have this color. Or maybe so this way you can actually visualize the attribute tables of the associated vector database within a display. So okay, now we are going to add the raster dataset like the vector dataset. So for that we can go to the layer and add layer and the add raster layer, or maybe we can go this shortcut button and click the raster and click the raster dataset, like the define the sources or select the browse option through the selection of the browse option and go to the appropriate folder where you have the raster dataset. So I have raster dataset here, which is actually a DEM dataset, digital elevation model by SRTM. So initially it will show the different kind of the files and the associated source files of a particular raster dataset. So you have to choose the appropriate file name. In this case we have the geotip or tip file. So click the tip and select the SRTM version and just open and add it. So it will automatically prompt up the raster dataset. So this raster dataset does not have the the raster dataset actually represent the pixelated or the grid based data system, or it actually represent the surface which actually could not be represented by the vector dataset. So for example, if we want to view the 1 pixel value, then you have to just select on area where contrast is very good, or maybe you can select this identify tool and click here and there, then you will find this value. This is the 4565 and another 4824 4437. So these all are the actually values which are associated with a particular pixel or particular grid. So these are the raster value. Maybe you can right click here, or for better visualization you can right click here and go to the properties, and for the color variant then go to the single band pseudo color and then you have to choose the different color ramp option. Maybe choose what, maybe red to green, and we have to select the which kind of classification you need. Continuous, equal, interval. Maybe continuous is the best, or maybe equal, interval. And how many class you need? I want 10 classes, and it's already classified all this data. Then rest of the things will remain default as it is. Then apply, then okay. So it will, you will see the how all this data actually, you know, represented on the basis of the values. Maybe we can use the invert color option. So maybe I have to, yeah, I have to choose a different color ramp, anything anyway, no matter. So this is the thing that we can actually visualize the vector data set, raster data set. So these are the things. So for this tutorial, or for this episode, where, you know, stop here. In the upcoming video we are going to add, or we are going to learn some basic or some advanced level GIS analysis. If you like the video, then please hit the subscribe button and share with your colleagues and groups. Thank you so much for the watching.